Hey everyone, this is Anna Brandt, and in today's podcast, we're actually going to talk about marketing again, but from a teenage point of view. I've been observing the teenagers in my life lately, and I've been pleasantly surprised. If you don't know anything about me, I am a newborn and maternity photographer going on 19 years. Actually, next year will be my 20th year. 19 years as a photographer in California. I was born and raised in New York, and we moved out the weekend before we were married over 20 years ago. Raised 3 children, built a business along the way. I am an international speaker and I travel around the world teaching workshops, but I also have a very busy studio in Tustin, California, and I love having my clients in studio and I love being in my own space. My podcasts don't have cute music, we don't have sponsors, we don't have ads running through. It's really myself in a room with a microphone sharing my thoughts and answering questions that I receive every single day. If you don't know anything about me, you can go to annabrandt.com and find all the links to everywhere. I have stores and workshops and all sorts of things that you can dig around and find out more information about. Now, with that being said, I will say I'm a mother to 3 teenagers. They are 14, 16, and 18. I have no idea when that happened. I'm in complete shock and awe every single day. When I was pregnant with Evan, I worked out of a 1,500 square foot condo, which was our home. I only had a camera. I only worked natural light. I didn't have anything else. When I was pregnant with Olivia, I got my first studio. It was only 500 square feet. I had no assistant, no staff, and my husband traveled most of the time. So I was by myself to care for a 2-year-old, a newborn, and a new studio. With Ava, baby number 3, I moved from a 500 square foot studio to a 2,500 square foot studio in the center of town. My rent went from $500 a month to $2,500 a month. I now had a newborn, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a lot of rent. That's when I started building my staff, as well as shortly thereafter started creating YouTube videos. Needless to say, my children have been raised in this set. They have been raised everywhere. They have been to marketing events. They have been to expos. They have been to workshops. They've traveled around the world. They have sat next to me in photo sessions. They have been a huge part of my journey along the way. And now watching them as teenagers find their way in the world, it's absolutely fascinating. I almost wish I could just follow them and record their every move without them knowing. I quite often say my life is like a reality show because it's just amazing what comes out of children's mouths. What's also amazing is the environment they're raised in obviously is super important. I'm an adopted child. My birth situation was not very good. I was left on the street. I was abandoned. I was homeless. I didn't really have a good start making my way in the world. I remember when I was in college, I did a paper on environment versus genetics because I was very curious to see if I was, predetermined to be a failure. Was I going to be a teenage mom? Was I going to be just a mess? Was I going to be living on the street? Was I going to have children I'd have to give up for adoption? I was really curious when I was a teenager myself because I had a very successful mother who raised 5 children, who adopted me, and had 4 other children, all of us a year apart. Not easy to do. She has 2 master's degrees, a master's degrees in psychology and divinity, and extremely intelligent, and has made me the woman I am today. Needless to say, that paper proved that environment can overweigh genetics. I definitely would not be here talking to you today if it was not for my adopted family, who taught me to be the best that I can be, who taught me to work 150%, and if I don't know something, to learn how to do it, and most importantly, when I do learn something, to teach to others. With that being said, raising my own children is even more challenging because I and my husband are responsible for the environment that we create. And we need to create a positive environment. Do things go wrong? Absolutely. What are the lessons that we teach them? Our businesses, we're both self-employed. What do we do when we have failures in our business or when we struggle in our business? How do we handle our successes? How do we handle critics? Everything we do and every movement, every sound we make, every word we utter has been absorbed by my children since day one. So now, as they are teenagers and I listen to their conversations, or they engage with me about things they're doing, I just kind of smile because so far we're doing things the right way. It could go at any turn. Keep in mind, parenting a teenager is very challenging. Parenting creative children is extremely challenging. Not just creative, whether they're in sports or whether they're geniuses or whether they have challenges, special needs, just raising children in general is challenging. But I will tell you as a parent that everything we do and everything we say and how we handle our days, for better or for worse, is definitely affecting our children. With that being said, I'm going to talk about teenage marketing for a few minutes because I think it's absolutely fascinating what I've been listening to recently. For example, the other day, Olivia, who's 16, came and told me that one of her dear friends is coming back from a trip. And she was super excited to see her, but a little bummed that she was going to be teaching VBS next week. But she said, Mom, listen to this. She's going to be working in Vacation Bible School all week. But what she does is she gives all the parents her card and lets them know when they pick up their children that she's available for babysitting. And because of that, she's now booking babysitting jobs. And I believe the VBS is voluntary. And so she's a junior in high school and she has a car and she needs to make money. So what I love about this teenager is not only is she volunteering her time for Vacation Bible School, huge, making an impression on younger children, huge, being a role model, huge. But she's also putting her business brain on, saying, hey, I still need to make money and I still need to put gas in my car. So why don't I market? Why don't I have cards handy? And when I see the parents, hopefully they'll see the relationship I have with their child, see that their child is smiling upon pickup, give them my card, so if they need anything, they can call me for babysitting. And it's working, and she's getting paid for doing that. What a fabulous marketing opportunity for a teenager. You can apply this in so many different ways. I can't believe how many photographers don't even have business cards on them. And whatever your business is, if you're listening to this and you're another kind of a business and you were to meet somebody and let's say you wash cars and someone sees you washing a car and they say, hey, can you wash my car? And you say, sure. And you say, how much do you charge? And you say, I don't know. I don't have a pricing. I don't have a business card. I don't have contact information. I don't have anything. Oh, I'm probably not going to book you to wash my car. But if you say, hey, here's my car wash pricing options, here's my business card, here's my schedule, I can even come to you, I will book you tomorrow. See what I mean? Okay, let's take Ava, my 14-year-old. Ava, I say every single day, is an absolute gift from God. She is the child that I did not know we needed. Every single day, she is a blessing. She's amazing. And she just graduated from 8th grade as an honored scholar after having 3 straight years of GPA above 4.0. I just found out it was 4.8. She excels in everything she does, and she's one of the most kind, caring people I've ever met. And I'm privileged to even be in her space. She loves babysitting. She's 14 now, and she's been babysitting for 2 years. And I smile so much because that's when I started babysitting. I was in the church nursery at 12. Not paid in the church nursery, but being around babies. And I loved going to church just so I could be in the church nursery. It was absolutely my favorite thing to do. And I remember being 14 and going door to door in my neighborhood. And my friend Kirsten, who lived 2 houses down, we used to make chocolate chip cookies and we would bag them up and sell them to neighbors. And I remember in the really hot summer days, they would melt and we'd get to our neighbors with like melted chocolate chip cookies, and God bless these neighbors, they would still buy them. But we would also get babysitting jobs. And so I loved to babysit. I've worked in the church nursery. I've been a paid babysitter. I've been a nanny. I did child development in school, and I've always loved children. I still do. I photograph children just as much as I do newborns. And I think they are the most amazing little people in the entire world. I love that Ava loves to babysit. She ended up taking a class to become CPR certified. And she tells me all the time that she hates when teenagers are always on their phone. So when she's babysitting, she reads to them, she'll cook for them, she'll bathe them, she'll put them to bed. And she recently did a 12-hour babysitting job. The people she babysits for love her. The children love her. And she's made flyers on the iPad that her sister recently edited for her. And if you come into my studio, you will see her flyers on the counter. And just yesterday, I gave 3 of her flyers to my clients. And one of my clients that she babysits for came in and she picked up the flyer and she's like, oh, I just love Ava. And I was like, everybody does. She has a talent and a gift for children. Where will it take her? I have no idea. But the fact that she loves being around children, raising them, is huge. But even more importantly is she knows how to market. She knows how to say, hey, I babysit. She has a flyer. My name's Ava. I'm CPR certified. This is my rate. This is my cell phone number, and of course, people know her parents, super important. You need to be able to trust them. But most importantly, she wants to gain people's trust. So she always asks me, can I help at the studio? Are there any babies there? She always wants to help, and it breaks her heart if she can't. But because of the environment she's raised in, she knows she has to market herself. She has her hourly wage, and let me tell you, if you borrow any money from Ava, she will give you a bill and she will tell you how much you borrowed and when it's due. I know, because I've personally borrowed money from her. Well, not really, but it's if she's running out. In fact, recently she was going to Disneyland and I was on a trip, so I couldn't give her money for Disneyland. She said, that's okay, Mom, I'm going to take it out of my babysitting money. She took $200 out of her babysitting money, paid her own ticket for Disneyland, knowing that I would pay her back when I came back from my trip. And trust me, she has already told me about my Disneyland bill with her. But I love that. I love that she has a great business sense. I love that she knows her value. I love that she knows what she's worth. And I love that she gives it 150%. When I looked at her Instagram recently, she had posted about her graduation and she had written that she had given it 150%. And I just smiled because it's something that I always tell my children. We will have good days and bad days, and we will have failures and successes. But oh my goodness, if you can give it 150%, no one can judge you for not giving it your all. They only will judge you when you give up. We're all going to fall down. It's how we get back up, and how we handle falling down is what is most important. I'm going to end with my son, Evan, 18 years of age. He asked when he graduated school if he could take a gap year. Now, Evan is my most creative child in the artistic sense. At 4 years old, he would throw temper tantrums if he couldn't paint a canvas. We had no idea what we had on our hands. He was born in October. We thought we had a sports child. My husband loves sports. He was born during football season. We have a boy. He's going to love sports, right? Wrong. By 4 years old, we quickly realized he did not love sports, although he did end up playing baseball for many, many, many years and is very good at it. Art was his thing, not just art, but color. He was obsessed with color. His obsession with color has now transferred over into the film world. He loves filmmaking, he loves cinematography, and he has traveled around the world with myself and on his own, working out this career of his. Now, for his gap year during the fall, he was in Europe, and he was actually paid to film a documentary in Amsterdam. For the spring, he ended up going to Asia, and he filmed the Holi Festival in India, and also went to Thailand and Singapore. Now, when the gap year was over and come time this summer to plan for the fall, I knew he wasn't going to go to college. I knew that he wasn't just going to go to a regular college, a 4-year university. He's just never been that child. But he loves to learn. He loves to be educated, and he is continually taking classes, going to events. And I'm not saying he won't go to school. He loves to learn, and he is constantly educating himself and taking other classes. And so I have a feeling that he will continue doing that, educating himself, taking classes, and who knows, maybe eventually he'll go to a school that is focused on exactly what he needs. Now, we've always emphasized education, but we've also emphasize the need to make sure that you carve out a place for yourself in this world, but that you do the work to support it. And so Evan is marketing every single day. All of his friends are in school, and when they're not in school, they're at my house in his spare room. He has this huge, big spare room in our house that is all decked out, and you can go in there, and there's teenagers. They're making podcasts. They're doing filming. They're doing video. If you follow Evan Brandt Media, you can, get a sneak into their world, and they have a voice. And what's so fascinating is they recently started their own podcast because they have a voice. They have something to say about their generation. And that goes along with marketing. Is I tell people all the time is marketing is about who you are. So here I look at these children, well, they're teens. Evan's not in school. All of his friends are in school. They're working at Target. They're working odd jobs. Evan, every time I turn around, if he's not working in film, he's taking class, educating himself. He was just at an expo last week. He's constantly trying to learn. So these are kids, 18, 19 years old. And they're either working or trying to educate themselves and trying to be better, but they're also trying to have their voice, which is so important just into not only marketing, but defining who you are. Sometimes having that voice by yourself and a microphone is everything. You can learn more about yourself just creating your own podcast than anything else. And so now these teens, they have a podcast, they have a collaborative website, they want to work as a team. And this is something that I see a lot of photographers struggle with. Photographers, we want to do everything ourselves. And again, if you're not a photographer, I'm sure this will apply to you. But so many times, photographers, we want to shoot, we want to edit, we want to do composites, we want to do everything. We want to sew, we want to knit. Well, I'm looking at these kids and they're going, I don't want to do everything. Evan loves filmmaking. Editing drags him down, but he has to do both. And maybe he can get an editor that will help him. Then he has another guy who helps with marketing and someone else who helps with the website. And so they've got this team together, which is so great because when they collaborate, what do? They start bouncing marketing ideas back and forth. They all need money. They all need to work. Whether Evan goes back to school or not, he needs money. He has a car and he has expenses and expensive equipment. The kids are all in college. They need to work. They still have their Target jobs and they need to create a life for themselves. So there's a desperation that no, their parents aren't just going to hand them money. They got to work. They have to work. So they have to think of things that they want to do. And so this marketing from these teenage brains, it's so fresh. It's so raw. It's so, I need work. I need to get my name out there. How do I get my name out there? I can do podcasts. I can do video. I can do behind the scenes photos. I can show myself working. I can show my team. I can collaborate with others. I can get out of my house and walk the pavement and visit other areas. In Evan's case, it's other countries. Tell the world that I have a skill, that I have something to offer, that I have a reason for being here, and that I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and then sell it. And that's why I wanted to come to you today in this podcast. I want every single day for you to wake up like that mind of a child. A mind of a child that says, I need to be motivated. I am determined. I want to make a place in this world. I want people to know who I am. I want them to know my name, and I want them to hear my voice. And I want to contribute and be a part of society. We're also teaching our children to give back and help others and working on all different things that they can do from a philanthropy side. So I encourage you, whatever business you're in, whatever age you are, I don't care if you're 10 or I don't care if you're 65, whatever part of the world you are, wherever you are listening to this podcast, you are here for a reason. You have a voice, you have a talent, you have a skill, and you have something that others can benefit from. But it's up to you to show the world who you are. It is up to you to sell it. It is up to you to jump out of bed with ideas. Grab that notebook and write it down and look at every single day as a fresh start that can be better than yesterday. I'm Anna Brandt, and I wish you nothing but success in your life and future.